Welcome to CandleLight Audiobook. The Secret Misses. Chapter 271. Theo, I've already told you from the start, there is already someone that I like, very, very much. Even though there are reasons that I can't be with him, he will live in my heart forever, filling it to the brim, so much so that no one else can replace him. There just isn't any more space for anyone else. Even if that person was more wonderful, and even more perfect, it would still be a no, do you understand? Luna blurted out before she could stop herself. With Luna's every word, Theo felt his entire body stiffen, his face aloof. His fingers touched her chin as he denied, lying. Luna, you're lying. Luna raised up 2 fingers, and stared at him with determined eyes. Then I'll swear, that if I was lying, I would never be famous in this lifetime, I would get hit by lightning and thunder, I would get hit by a car. Stop it. Theo could not stand this any longer and burst out of the room. Listening to the sound of his footsteps leaving, Luna felt herself somewhat relieved. You did the right thing. Luna, you did the right thing. You should have done this from the start, you were just greedy for too long, you just did not cut it off earlier. When Luna slowly walked out, she was surprised to find someone leaning quietly against the wall with a cigarette that was practically burned out in his hand, indicating just about how long he might have been standing there. Adam, Luna trailed off in shock. Adam breathed out a long ring of smoke, looked down and laughed to himself. The one you said whom you like very, very, very much, so much so that no matter how amazing others may be, they could not replace this person. You're talking about Theo, aren't you? It's seldom that Theo, who's usually quite smart, could be fooled by this. Luna remained silent. Adam turned his head to look at Luna and quietly said, It was you who rejected him, yet it seems like you're worse off than he is. It had been a long time since he had seen her like this. She seemed like she was at someone's death anniversary, engulfed in a dark aura with no sign of light or energy. Adam suddenly did not know what to say, and frustratedly lit another cigarette. After hearing Luna reject Theo, not only did he not feel happy at all, instead he felt slightly sorry for them. He knew, Luna was officially head over heels for Theo. But if even Theo could not succeed, what more him? Someone who did not even have the guts to admit, I like you. Adam sighed, and finally said the words he had been in a dilemma whether to express or not, Luna, you don't have to be this way. If you really like him, then just get together with him. As soon as he said that, he actually felt a slight sense of relief. Luna bitterly smiled back and said, Adam, weren't you the one who was against this? Adam raised his brows and replied in a casual manner, I was against this only because I didn't want you to be my aunt. But you are my good friend after all, I hope that you can be happy. He earnestly looked at her, Luna, before this I didn't believe that Theo would be sincere, but now, if he really did like you, he wouldn't care about your status and your job. He also even has the power to protect you from further harm. Luna's face darkened as she pleaded, Adam, just stop. If the underlying issue was just because of her status, that would be but a minor bump in the road. No matter her status, her class or her job, as long as she lived, she could change her circumstances. But how would one change the past? How could she change that? How could she change the fact that she was raped 5 years ago and had given birth to a bastard? Chapter 272. When Theo returned, Cleo knew it was officially over. The sky was falling. The way his brother looked was even scarier than when he first took over the company years ago. At that time, father suddenly fell severely ill and was on the brink of death several times. Everyone was eyeing the position of the heir, so much so that some even tried to break apart the siblings, causing quite a bloodshed among the family empire. The Theo at that time had no emotions, forgetting all meanings of kinship and even using harsh means to defeat all those who tried to stir trouble within the Goldberg family empire. Now, Theo was akin to a beast who had just been awoken from his slumber, awash in a murderous vibe. Cleo initially wanted to console him, but Theo chased all the house's maids away and then locked himself up all alone in the bungalow. He even instructed that no one but himself was allowed to enter. Cleo was afraid that something would happen to him, fearful that he might even blow up the house, so he waited worriedly outside. He waited the whole night. Yet, Theo still had not come out. On top of that, something worse had happened. Early in the morning, Father Goldberg personally gave him a call with an unhappy tone to drop by the old home. Goldberg family's old residence. In the living room, Father Goldberg and Mother Goldberg were sitting on the sofa with crestfallen expressions. The alarm in Cleo's brain was going off frantically, and almost immediately, he could guess what had gone wrong. Indeed, something had gone terribly wrong. Father Goldberg raised his voice. "Bastard, explain to me what's happening here." White A4 papers and photographs were scattered all over the floor. Cleo briefly skimmed everything, and it was all Luna's pictures and personal information. Luna's identity had been exposed. Sigh, why does this have to happen now? Of all times, Lady Luck is really not on my side. Mother Goldberg's expression was full of heartbreak and anger as she stared at her younger son and scolded, "Cleo, you have really disappointed me. You can mess with other things, but this is your brother's marriage we're talking about. How could you not understand the implications of this and help him hide this from us? I thought it was someone from a proper household of suitable class and status, but it turns out she is just a little actress girl, with a very complicated private life. How could someone like this be our Goldberg family's daughter-in-law, and be the mother to my grandchildren?" Father Goldberg shouted as he slammed the table. Cleo shuddered and cold sweat trickled down his face as he thought about how he had left little treasure under their care. What spell did that woman cast onto your brother? The fact that she could let the arrogant Theo fancy her. Thank goodness we noticed this early. Otherwise, the both of you would have only told us after all was said and done, right? This is ridiculous. Both parents went on and on their tirade for at least half an hour. Initially, Cleo did try to explain himself, but he soon gave up. He sat on the sofa and idly started counting the tea leaves in his cup as they scolded him. Mother Goldberg gave him a death stare and said, "You little punk. Are you listening to us or not?" Cleo put down his teacup and blinked twice before asking, "Eh? Are the both of you done talking? Can you please let your dear son, who's been scolded harshly, have a say now?" Father Goldberg scoffed, "Fine. You speak. I would like to know what you have to say for yourself." Chapter 273. Cleo adjusted his collar before standing up and said, "Firstly, occupation. Being an actress is a decent job, there's nothing shameful about that. Yes, the entertainment circle is a little messy, but you can't just generalize and discriminate everyone in it. Even I'm the boss of Glory World Entertainment. Since you have investigated, then you should also know that Luna has been nothing but decent since she entered the industry. If not, with a face like hers, she would have been famous beyond comparison by now, and not just a B-list newbie. Secondly, education. Before Luna went abroad, she managed to get into Imperial University with excellent grades. Later, it was only due to disagreements with her family that she was forced to further her studies abroad. Within those 4 years, she didn't receive any financial assistance from her family, and relied on herself to get into the Southern Film Academy. Her grades were stellar and she received scholarships every year. Why did you selectively ignore this point? Thirdly, private life. Every one of Luna's ex-boyfriends were relationships of open and decent nature. She was neither a third party in any of them, nor was she being taken care of by a sugar daddy, so which part of this is messy? If you guys can accept the fact that I, your son, have had 800 ex-girlfriends, can't you accept that Luna had 8 ex-boyfriends? Don't you think you're imposing a double standard here? Let me remind the both of you that we're in the 21st century, men and women are equal. Fourthly, family background. Indeed, the Ning family has become increasingly outrageous in recent years. They ignore the real treasure of their family and instead side her unruly sister. But don't forget, Luna's maternal grandfather is Alexander Sterling. Years ago, they only disowned Rebecca because she insisted on marrying Robert. Though Luna is still considered their granddaughter, this is a fact that can't be denied. Alexander's granddaughter is more than enough to match us Goldberg family, isn't she? Father Goldberg and Mother Goldberg were both still angry, and initially they were not prepared to listen to Cleo's defense. However, now that he said his piece, their expressions started to change. At this point, Cleo added, "Fifthly, I forgot to mention the most important thing. What is it? Both parents eagerly asked. Cleo told them, the both of you are worrying too much for no reason. Just yesterday, Luna has already rejected Big Bro. So, stop worrying because Luna is not becoming your daughter-in-law's, nor your grandchildren's mother. From here on, she won't have anything to do with us Goldberg family. All of a sudden, a piercing sound came from behind. Cleo and his parents both turned towards the direction of the sound, only to find Little Treasure's small figure standing there with broken glass pieces on the floor. Little Treasure. Without waiting for the Lou parents to console him, Little Treasure ran into the house and slammed the door shut. Cleo sighed, great, another one down. After Big Bro got rejected, he's been locking himself inside the house and hasn't left since last night till now. Mother Goldberg, who was worried for her son and her grandson, was now even more anxious and scolded Cleo, bad son. Can't you watch what you say? Now that Little Treasure has hurt us, what do we do now? Little Treasure likes that woman so much. Cleo looked innocently and replied, the day was going to come anyway. Luna only promised Big Bro that she would accompany Little Treasure for 3 months, and 3 months is about to be up. Even if Luna hadn't set things straight with him, she would eventually have to leave. Chapter 274. Did you just say that your brother is locking himself up in the house? Father Goldberg pondered. Cleo was just about to say something when his handphone suddenly rang. It was Alex. Second Master, help. I know, I'm on my way. As soon as Alex uttered those words, Cleo knew what was up. He hung up the phone and shrugged at his parents, saying, brother's assistant just called, he's finally left the house and gone to the office, so I've got to go provide support to my comrades. Bye. As they watched Cleo leave, the Goldberg parents just sat there and looked at one another. What do you think about this? Mother Goldberg asked worriedly. Father Goldberg merely responded coldly, let's just wait further and see how things go. Who knows if that girl is just using reverse psychology? Mother Goldberg bit her tongue as she thought about her son's confession. Which stupid girl would continue playing tricks when they had already succeeded in making him fall for her? What about Little Treasure then? This was what she really wanted to know. I think Little Treasure has almost completely healed, so it's no big deal. Stop worrying for no reason. The past few days that he has been with us, that girl wasn't by his side, and he looks just fine, doesn't he? But at the same time, in Movie City, Luna laid on her bed, clammy with cold sweat as her body seemed to writhe with torture written all over her face. She was having a wonderful time, or at least it was a wonderful dream. She dreamt that she was wearing a beautiful white wedding dress, her hand held by the one who gave her hope and light, and slowly they walked into the sacred church. However, as the pastor was reading the vows, the world around her started to be engulfed in darkness. A man was forcefully tugging her hand, and no matter how loud she shouted, he wouldn't let go. At last, she was finally dragged into the hell hole behind her. Ding dong, ding dong. The doorbell rang urgently and woke her up from the nightmare. Luna immediately sat up and realized that her entire body was damp from sweating profusely, and her head hurt so much it felt like it was going to explode. Last night, she barely got any sleep. When dawn came, she finally got some shut-eye, but she might as well have stayed awake because her sleep was ruined by all sorts of nightmares. Ding dong. The doorbell was still ringing incessantly. With a heavy head, Luna dragged her feet to open the door. Who's there? I bought extra breakfast, do you want some? Responded Adam, who did not finish sentence, as he stared wide-eyed at Luna as if seeing a ghost. My God. You look frightening. You better be careful not to let the paparazzi see your face or they might think you're on drugs. Luna snatched the breakfast out of his hands and snapped, stop acting so shocked. Haven't you seen a victim of heartbreak? Adam replied, I've seen other heartbroken people, but I've never seen you heartbroken. All you do is break the hearts of others. Luna took a bite of the bun and said, then you're in luck today. Adam sighed worriedly, seeing through her facade. Luna, are you really okay? Would you like me to drink with you tonight? Luna smiled and waved, apologies, but no thanks, I've already got a date tonight. What? I was just feeling sorry for you, but you've gotten a date already? It was a good thing Luna only had worse scenes today, so her face was covered in black charcoal, strategically covering up her pale skin, otherwise she would definitely have delayed the shooting progress. As much as she tried her best to focus, she still did make a few mistakes. Some of her kung fu moves almost caused grievous harm to other actors, but thankfully, nothing too terrible happened. Luna knew that she could not continue in her current condition, or else, she would not be able to shoot any longer. Chapter 275. Ever since Little Treasure accidentally overheard Cleo's words, the Goldberg parents were uneasy, but they breathed a sigh of relief at lunchtime. Little Treasure opened the door to let himself out and obediently finished his rice, drank his soup, and even ate some fruits after his meal. Everything seemed normal, but in the past, the little guy's every move was filled with energy, and now he just seemed like a robot who was just following instructions. After the meal, Little Treasure took his drawing book and went to the garden. The Goldberg parents spied on him from afar, trying very hard to see what the little guy was drawing in an attempt to figure out his thoughts. But the little guy just sat there and stared blankly into the distance without drawing a single thing. I knew at the moment that I saw him, our Little Treasure is unhappy, said Mother Goldberg mournfully. Father Goldberg walked in a few circles, his arms behind his back, finally concluding, completely breaking this off is a good thing. If only Theo was just getting a wife, that's fine, but because of Little Treasure, we can't be hasty about this. Will you be at ease leaving Little Treasure in the hands of that girl? But what Cleo said today makes sense too. That girl might not be as bad as we imagined her to be. Besides, she did teach Little Treasure quite well. Didn't you yourself say she was doing a good job too? That was because I was fooled by those two punks. Father Lou started to become incensed again talking about this. He warned his other half with a stare, don't you be nice about this, no more further discussions about this. The most important thing you have to do now is to hurry up and choose a suitable wife for Theo. Make him give up on the girl. If you want to choose, you go ahead. My dear grandson is already like this, I'm not in the mood to deal with such nonsense now. What would it look like if I did the choosing? Whatever it is, I'm not going. I want to accompany my grandson. You. Late at night at Dragon Bay. A group of avant-garde fashionable youths gathered together. One of them was a black short-haired youth that particularly stood out. His entire face was covered with an exaggerated skull, with a tattoo sleeve on his arm. He had a black-colored earring on his left ear and chewing gum in his mouth. He said to the white-haired youth beside him, Rocky, is my car ready? Rocky tapped the car that was shined to sparkle beside him and said, it's ready, here's the car. Have a look, see if you like it. The skull-faced youth looked critically at the car, and said stiffly, it's not bad I guess, but it doesn't have my Blackie's cool factor. Rocky rolled his eyes, please, I can make your car look like this is considered not too shabby in just one day, alright? Right, Shizi, where's your car? Where's your Blackie? I sent it for maintenance, it's still not done yet, slurred the youth lazily. Her car was still with Theo. It was not too convenient to get it now in their current situation, so she had to borrow another one. Rocky nodded and clapped his hands to get everyone's attention. Everyone's here, right? Let me reiterate the competition rules. We'll start here from Dragon Bay, and the destination will be Death Valley. First place gets to have our Princess Mandy for one night of fun. The crowd started to cheer loudly. A sexy lady with a devilish body stepped out of the crowd to slap the back of Rocky's head. Pfft, please. You hooligan. One night of fun, in your dreams. Despite getting hit, Rocky grinned as if he had just swallowed honey. He laughed and said, I was just joking. Let's start again. The grand prize will be a kiss from our princess. Additionally, there's a prize money of $5 million. Chapter 276. As soon as Rocky finished his announcement, he smiled giddily and walked up to Mandy. Mandy, wait for me, tonight your kiss is definitely mine. Mandy rolled her eyes at him with a look of disgust, and then walked up to the skull-faced youth, clinging onto him. Luna, you can't lose, okay? I hate those guys, I only like you. When it came to Luna, she would be more than willing, even if it was just a one-night stand. Hey, Mandy, you're a little biased, aren't you? Why do you hate us and only like Luna? The crowd started to get dispirited. Mandy put one hand on her waist and said, obviously it's because Luna is the most handsome. Someone from the crowd shouted back, please. Every time he plays with us, he covers his face with such ridiculous makeup. How would you know if he's really handsome or not? Mandy scoffed, I just know. Handsomeness is not just about the face, you've gotta look at the charisma too, okay? What do you rogues understand? Fine, we don't understand. You better be careful of the day that Luna comes barefaced and scares you to tears with his ugliness. Who knows? Maybe if he was stripped naked, he might be a woman. Ha ha ha. You guys, listening to the guys ridicule her, Mandy became furious. She turned her head towards the skulled-faced youth who was familiarizing himself with the car and said, Luna, torture them all. The youth's lips curved into a smirk, and with a hand saluted, your wish is my command, my princess. Mandy was so electrified and starstruck that she felt faint. Oh, my Luna, you're so handsome. On the side, Rocky jealously said through clenched teeth, Pfft. This little punk, I knew you'd try to act cool. Watch me defeat you today. The first place is definitely mine. When the crowd was done fooling around, the midnight race finally officially began. Mandy picked up the starting gun and stood at the starting line. Everyone, please get into your positions. Get set, ready, go. At the crack of the gun, all the cars accelerated forward. Luna, all the best. I'll be waiting for you at Death Valley. Death Valley was true to its name because of the narrow and steep roads. It was a place where many accidents had happened. Yet, it was also a heaven for daredevils who indulged in extreme sports as hobbies. Luna knew this group of people because when she first returned to the country and sped along the roads, they often had altercations, but at last, they became friends. All these people were from the same racing club, but Luna only joined them to race illegally once in a while. However, as her job became increasingly busy, plus her meeting with Little Treasure and Theo later on, she did not need such extreme and dangerous sports to release and relieve her stress anymore. That was why it had been such a long time since she had gone out with them, until tonight, that was. Her nickname Luna and her dressing up as a man was all for convenience. Especially with her current situation, she would have to be extra careful doing something like this. The sound of the car engine drumming against her ears and the strong wind howling past her as she sped through made her feel as if her soul was being elevated. She could feel the stress that was suppressing and suffocating her leave her body at that moment in time. Even if it was just a momentary relief and calm, it still led her to chase the thrill like a moth drawn to a flame. Luna. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead first. Rocky mocked as he sped past her at a turning point, successfully overtaking her. Luna's lips curved up into a smile, not caring. She continued to follow her own momentum of driving, maintaining her spot at second place. Until the last round. The most dangerous round. Chapter 277. Luna lowered her body, shifted gears and slowly increased her speed. At the one of the steepest curves that closely shaved the side of the cliff, she dangerously overtook Rocky. Jesus, you're crazy. Do you really want to die? Rocky furiously cursed her. The final results were obvious because no matter how good you were, you could never beat someone who would risk their life. At the finishing line, Mandy cheered happily and jumped into the arms of Luna as she held the trophy and prize money. She pouted her red lips to offer a kiss. Luna did not reject this and she smiled as she leaned forward to receive the kiss. But as she was about to plant the kiss, Luna repositioned a little, so Mandy's lips did not reach hers but found her cheek instead. Mandy went red with embarrassment, and she sulked, Luna, you're so mean. Rocky, who had to watch his dream girl kiss someone else, was so angry that he threw his helmet onto the ground and said, God damn it, how could you actually kiss such a face? Mandy ignored him while continuing to cling onto Luna's arm and said, Luna, we're having something on tomorrow night, do you want to come along? No, thanks, you guys go ahead, rejected Luna. Mandy looked disappointed, then she asked that had been bugging her for a while now, Luna, you're really mysterious. What are you busy with every day? What do you actually do for a living? It's a secret. Luna responded as she revealed a secretive and sneaky smile, before she waved and slinked away. As she watched Luna's carefree shadow leave, Mandy was practically a puddle of infatuation. She had to get him. Returning to the hotel before dawn, Luna was prepared to crash as soon as she got to her bed. Despite having slept for only slightly over 3 hours, she felt much better than she had yesterday. Today was another day of intense battlefield scenes, with another scene at night. Luna perfectly performed from start till the end flawlessly. When they wrapped up, Guo was overjoyed and said, "Not bad, Luna, your form is much better today. At this rate, we can definitely catch up on our progress." Luna breathed a sigh of relief. "I will work harder to keep it up." Upon returning to the hotel, Adam circled her like a watchdog. Luna punched him and asked, "What's wrong with you? You're giving me a headache. Becoming a golden retriever now, are you?" Adam looked at her with squinted eyes and said, "Luna, you better tell me honestly, what did you do last night? How are you suddenly so much better today?" "It was just the rest. What else could I have done?" "Liar. Last night, I rang your doorbell many times, but you weren't even in your room." "Pfft. Why did you ring my doorbell for?" "Don't change the topic." "I'm saying, Luna, you wouldn't be doing anything illegal, are you?" I think it is slight illegal. If I got caught, I would have to go to jail." Luna still did not reveal what happened that night, so Adam could only silently worry for her. He had to check that she was not out all night for the next 2 nights before he felt at ease again. For the next 2 days, Luna continued to keep up her steady performance. In a blink of an eye, it was soon 3 days since she had straightened things out with Theo. Within those 3 days, Theo did not contact her at all. She too had intentionally avoided any news about him, focusing all of her energy on working. Only sometimes, she would randomly have flashbacks to that night. Theo suddenly hugged her from the back and said, "Luna, I've really missed you. It feels like it has been so long since I've seen you." Chapter 278. Goldberg family's old residence. Little Treasure sat unmoving in front of the easel, the horizon of the sunset to his side. His small silhouette seemed especially lonely and pitiful. "Little Treasure, come have dinner now. Grandma made your favorite sweet and sour mandarin fish." Little Treasure, Little Treasure." After Mother Goldberg called out to him for about 5 or 6 times, Little Treasure finally reacted. He started packing up his easel without saying anything, and looked a few more times towards the direction he had been staring at for the entire afternoon before entering the house obediently. The dining table was filled with various kinds of both Chinese and Western dishes. "Little Treasure, eat more, okay? These are all your favorites." "Yes, eat more. Come, let Grandpa feed you." Little Treasure looked at the dishes stiffly, and then picked up his chopsticks to get the nearest dish before starting to eat with his head bowed down. He did not need any coaxing. Seeing Little Treasure this obedient, the Goldberg parents were relieved. Father Goldberg gave his wife a look and said, "See, I told you it will be okay." That night, Little Treasure continued to eat a lot, even more than usual, in fact. It seemed like he had a really enormous appetite. 3 calm days passed and nothing out of the blue happened. Father Lou was very happy and Mother Goldberg finally felt assured again. Yet, that night itself, the sound of the maid's screams from Little Treasure's room suddenly pierced the night. "Master! Madam! Something's wrong. Little Master quickly come and see." "What are you saying? What happened?" Both of them rushed over. When they reached the room, they saw Little Treasure bending forward and vomiting the dinner he had had all over the floor. He even started retching bile. Mother Goldberg hurriedly patted him on his back and exclaimed, "Ah! Little Treasure! Little Treasure, what's wrong? Why are you vomiting so much?" Father Goldberg calmly said, "Kids vomiting once in a while is no big deal. Maybe he just ate too much, don't be so shocked. Yet as he finished his sentence, the little guy went limp and passed out. Little treasure, screamed Mother Goldberg. Now even Father Goldberg could not stay calm any longer, and he started to turn pale and shouted at his butlers and maids, "Why are you still standing there? Quickly call for the doctor." Within a split second, the entire residence was thrown into chaos. Mother Goldberg hugged a pale little treasure and was so worried that she was frantic. She grumbled to Father Lou, "It's all your fault for saying that there was nothing wrong. Look what has happened now. Must you torture my grandson? So what if Tingxiao fancies that girl, as long as she can make our little treasure happy? Even if she was a beggar on the streets, would still let her in. What are you saying now? What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? I just want for my dear grandson to be happy. He was so much better previously, to the point that he was already healed. And now, he's become like this. It's really breaking my heart to pieces. Don't you think it's breaking my heart too? I'm only worried for little treasure's future. What future is there if little treasure is dead?" Mother Goldberg said this as she suddenly remembered something and turned to the maid, ordering, "Bella, go get little master's drawing. I want to see it." "Okay, madam, I'll go immediately." The maid immediately brought over little treasure's drawing from that afternoon. The Goldberg parents scanned the drawing. Little treasure did not draw a single thing on the blank canvas, but upon closer inspection, they saw that in the middle of the canvas was a sentence written with miniature font in pencil. "Auntie Luna. Little treasure has been very good. Why don't you want little treasure?" Mother Goldberg's tears started to pour as soon as she saw this. She cried, "Who said little treasure was fine? He was only forcing himself to be obedient. Even though he couldn't finish his rice, he still made himself do it. Even though he wanted to throw a tantrum like he used to, he forced himself to be obedient, all because he promised someone else that he would be." Chapter 279. At night, the Goldberg Group's company building was brightly lit. As of 3 days ago, the entire Goldberg Group had been on alert mode. Winter had arrived early. Assistant CEO's office. I know, you guys are bearing the brunt of suffering, but it really was your fault. Before this, my brother was in a good mood, but you guys took it easy, so now you regret it, don't you? At this point, the only thing you can do is to just not let my brother find any loopholes, so he can't mess with you guys, okay? Yes, you guys are scared of him, but do you think I ain't scared too? Geez. Damn you, the person who's in the most danger now is me, okay? Don't even bother whining to me. Cleo was feeling frustrated thinking about dealing with the next wave of workers whining when his private handphone rang. It was an even more troublesome worry. Mom, what is it now? I can guarantee that the girl hasn't come to look for Big Bro, and Big Bro hasn't gone to look for her either. If you don't believe me, just come and ask anyone in the office. Big Bro has been working 24/7 for the past few days, without resting for a second. Mother Goldberg on the other end quickly stopped him and said, "Cleo, get your brother to come home. Something's happened to little treasure." Cleo's expression suddenly changed before he asked, "What did you say? Didn't you say little treasure was fine before this, and that we didn't have to worry? How did this suddenly happen? What has exactly happened? Little treasure's not feeling too well, and he's in a really bad shape. Quickly get your brother to come home, hurry." As he stared at the phone which his mother hung up on, Cleo momentarily collapsed onto his desk. Sigh, days without the sister-in-law sucked. There was no one to ask for help from now on. It seemed like he could only rely on himself. By God's grace, he prayed that he would survive. Cleo anxiously walked to the door of the CEO's office. He took a deep breath and was about to knock the door when a bunch of people swarmed up to him and stuffed all sorts of documents and proposals into his arms. Cleo shouted back at them, "Jesus! You bunch of cowards, you better watch out. God damn it, the true colors of everyone revealed in trying times. The fact that everyone was waiting for him. Second Master, please, and thank you. You're our only hope." "Exactly, Second Master, we're desperate. Only you, second master, can go in and come out alive. Please help us. Stop sucking up to me, everyone get lost. Cleo shooed away everyone, and then knocked on the door to his brother's office. He did not actually need to shoo them, because everyone disappeared in the blink of an eye. Come in, said a coarse voice from inside the office. Brother, these. Cleo could not even finish his sentence because he started coughing and almost choked to death inside. He had to back up a few steps before moving forward again. Jesus, was this Hitler's gas chamber or something? How many cigarettes had he smoked? The curtains were closed, even the windows were shut. He really was not afraid of suffocating himself to death, was he? Cleo put down the documents and hurriedly pulled open the curtains and windows for some ventilation. He saw Theo leaning back in his chair with his expressions hidden by the shadows. The cigarette between his fingers was almost burnt out and about to reach his fingers. The side coffee table still had the lunch and dinner his secretary had served him, none of it was touched. Cleo slowly looked over to see a stack of information beside Theo, all about the Byron family. Chapter 280. Cleo suddenly lost all color in his face. My God, brother is not going to mess with the Byron family, is he? Is he really going to forfeit all kinships? Even if they are not related to the Byron family by blood, they are still connected to Adam's mother's generation and their parents really care about this relationship. After some thought, Cleo knew something was not right. Based on his brother's personality, if he was going to do anything to the Byron family and Adam, he could have done that much earlier. There was no way he would have kept quiet for the past 3 days. What was up then? Is there something you want to say? The air around suddenly filled with an icy voice, causing Cleo to shudder and return to his senses. He quickly explained, yes, mother and father called earlier and they said that little treasure is not feeling too well, so they want you to quickly go home. Theo stubbed out his cigarette butt and then lit another one again. Get the car ready. Okay. Cleo quickly sneaked out, secretly grateful. It was a good thing that his brother had not forgotten all kinship to point of neglecting his son. Goldberg family old residence. Mother Goldberg was anxiously pacing about outside the door. As soon as she saw Theo, she immediately went up to greet him and said, Theo, you've finally come home. Quickly go and see little treasure. Father Goldberg was obviously unhappy and scolded him. Oh, you finally know your way back home, do you? Little treasure is ill and yet you couldn't even be contacted. How are you suitable enough to be his father? Theo's pale face was devoid of any expression as he replied calmly without fighting back. Weren't the both of you going to get me a wife? You can go let those women take care of him. Father Goldberg's eyes flew wide and he shouted at his son, you bastard. How could you say something like this? Little treasure is your son. You don't take care of him yourself and yet you expect strangers to do it for you? Cleo scoffed. He could not help himself and said, Father, please, can you be more sensible? It was the both of you who were in a hurry to find strangers to take care of little treasure. Brother did find little treasure an extremely reliable lady to take care of him, but it was the both of you who didn't trust his judgment. Now he's agreeing to let the both of you choose for him, yet you're still unsatisfied. What do you want him to do? You. Father Goldberg was so angry that he was speechless. Then his expression changed and he said, you punk, I almost fell for your trap. It was he himself who didn't have the ability to get her, don't blame it on me. Exposed. Cleo rubbed his nose and then said again, but, this means, that if he manages to get her then you wouldn't be against it anymore? Father Goldberg grumbled, don't try to be smart with me. Quickly go see little treasure. Little treasure, what's wrong? Where are you not feeling well? Cleo asked the boy. Mother Goldberg wiped her tears as she said, it's probably because that girl had previously taught him to be obedient, so these few days he has been a very good boy, always eating and resting normally without rebelling. Until today, not too long after dinner, little treasure suddenly vomited everything he ate and he even fainted. Mother Goldberg took out a drawing and cried even harder as she told him, later on, after I saw these words on little treasure's drawing, only did I realize that he wasn't fine at all, that he has been suppressing everything. Cleo took over the drawing, looked at it, and started sobbing within seconds. My goodness, poor little treasure, a child without their mother is a sad one. Exactly, I am so heartbroken by this. Both mother and son cried in each other's embrace.